Woman hears noise underground in woods, stops cold when she realizes what it is. The path ahead of Maria slowly darkens as it goes down further into the woods. She felt her stomach tying itself into a knot, but she had to carry on. She needed the truth. She had heard a scream not 2 minutes ago, and she needed to help if she could. Fear rang out through her body as she considered running away or calling the police, but her body refused to do it. She just stood there. Then, she saw movement nearby and felt a shiver down her spine. Maria Brooks enjoyed walking in the woods whenever she could. She always took enough water, her trusty earphones, and a good podcast. She'd sometimes lose focus and end up spending hours inside the forest. Maria went into the woods like she did every other day, but she had no idea that today was different, and her life would change completely. It was a warm Sunday and Maria had just finished eating lunch with her family. She decided that she'd grab a leash, find her dog, and take him for a walk. They'd be going into the woods. She found the leash where she always left it and attached it to her dog. Just then, as she was about to walk out the door, she heard a news report on the TV. What she heard made her heart start racing. A young woman had disappeared in a town close to Maria's. She had gone missing 3 days ago, and her family was worried about her. She sympathized with the family and could only imagine how they felt. After watching the whole report, she decided she'd still go on her walk. So she led her dog out of the house, out of her gate, and onto the pathway that led into the forest. She had no idea how her day would turn out. She said "good boy" as her dog gleefully followed her on the lead. Her dog needed this walk as much as she did. They'd both get some peace and quiet out in the forest. She was getting closer to the woods now, but something felt strange in the back of her mind. Something in her mind told her that things weren't right. Still, she needed this walk, so she carried down the path. She had reached the woods. It was a dense forest with a single path that cut through it. Maria's dog was panting happily while drool fell from its mouth. Maria dismissed the feeling she had earlier because now she truly felt happy and relaxed. But Maria should have rather listened to her instincts. She wasn't prepared for the situation she was about to put in. Maria was making her way along the path with thick trees on either side of her. Nothing could have made her happier than she was right now. The nature that surrounded her always seemed to melt her worries of everyday life away. Then, a horrible smell hit Maria's nose. She didn't know what it was, but it was not pleasant. She felt her stomach churn as she held back the desire to vomit. Maria doubled over and had to focus entirely on suppressing her gag reflex. She put her hand in front of her mouth and wondered what the smell could be. She looked left and right, up and down, but didn't see anything. But as she kept walking on the path, the smell got worse. Perhaps someone had dumped their trash in the woods? Maria hoped that's what it was. The smell had become a taste. Maria was finding it harder to not throw up and felt the pizza she'd eaten for lunch slowly rising in her stomach. She had to get away from the smell. She led her dog as they skirted around what she thought was the circumference of the scent. She didn't want to find out what the smell was and just wanted to find the sweet, fresh smell of ordinary air again. The smell started getting lighter and lighter until finally she could smell it no more. She unscrewed the top of her water bottle and took a sip. She saw a stick on the path and decided to throw it for her dog. He zoomed down the path looking for the stick she'd thrown. She smiled as they jumped off the path, excitedly looking for it. But then she noticed something down the path past her dog. She had a bad feeling about this. There was a man in the middle of the woods. He was pacing back and forth with a sheepish expression plastered on his face, like he was running away or hiding from something. Who was this man and what was his problem? Maria could feel her heartbeat in her throat. She had no idea what was coming. Maria's dog growled and she held him close, trying to reassure him that everything would be fine. She didn't want the man to know she was here, crouching behind a tree, watching him. After a few minutes, the man sprinted off, disappearing into the blackness of the woods. She thought it was over, but she was so wrong. Maria tried to dismiss what she just saw and carried on with her walk. She let her dog off the lead and he sprinted around the trees, his tongue wagging and tail propped high in the air. But just as Maria let out a laugh at her silly dog, she heard something, and it was a sound that left a chill up her spine. It sounded like a muffled scream followed by scratches. Maria stopped dead in her tracks to the sound, and her heart started to race like an Olympian going for gold. Where was this sound coming from? And more importantly, what was making this noise? Hundreds of questions ran through her mind, but instinct told her to follow the noise. Maria followed the noise and it eventually led her to a ditch covered in leaves and dirt. It looked just like any ditch, to be honest, so she was confused as to why the sound led her there. She took a deep breath before crouching down and looking into a hole, and what she saw left a terrible feeling in her stomach. Deep in the hole, Maria could see it was in fact a dog that was trapped. She could hear it crying, whimpering out to be rescued. Maria's heart broke at the thought of this poor pup, trapped and confused. Maria knew she had to act fast. She had to be quick. Time was running out. Maria got up off the ground and instantly whipped out her phone to call the fire service. After a few rings, she was finally put through, and they said they'd be there in as little as 30 minutes. Around 30 minutes later, the fire service arrived and a horde of people came to the ditch to try and rescue the dog. And thankfully, a further 30 minutes later, the dog was safe. Maria felt overjoyed that the pup was rescued, but what was it doing here in the first place? She knew she needed to find the truth. Maria spoke to the fire service and they told her that this dog had in fact been missing for 48 hours. Its owner let him off his lead and he ran off in the woods and ultimately got stuck. Maria's heart broke at the thought of the owner losing their precious dog, and she knew she had to track him down. The owner had been on a mission to try and find her dog, so when she came to collect the missing pup, she was overjoyed. All her wishes came true finally. Her pup was safe and sound. She thanked Maria, but Maria just smiled to herself. She just did what any other dog walker would do, right?